Hey, before we go to this next question, you guys want a beer? Or you want to switch up?
Yeah.
So let's see. Next question. This one is a direct question too from somebody on Instagram. What was the most profound thing you learned about gunfighting, whether in real world or in training?
So half of that question already disqualifies itself.
Yeah,
because you learn about it in the real world, not in training.
Is that you or me?
That's you.
Awesome, thanks.
That's your local brown.
Wait a minute. Say it again.
I'm gonna wait on you guys.
Was...
So, what is the most profound thing you've learned about gunfighting, whether in real world or in training? Most profound thing.
To me, absolutely. From, I guess, going back to one of the prior questions, pre 9/11, post 9/11. I mean, from what I've learned, it is absolutely the basics.
Agreed.
That freaking come into play, or what's the most profound thing I learned from actually doing it compared to training was that it's everything came down to the basic fundamentals.
Mm-hmm. I think probably one of the most profound experiences I had was a gunfight we had. We had a forward element. They got ambushed. They actually initiated with a claymore and then had a horrible firefight they had to displace from. But the rest of the camp got attacked as well, and we were a really small element. And tents got shot up, tires got shot up, just hundreds and hundreds of rounds of PK ammo got poured into our camp from higher positions before we were able to displace those machine gun positions. But nobody got hit. All this equipment had bullet holes all through it, 5 Humvee tires down, all this stuff. And it made me realize that I don't care how fast you can shoot, and I don't care if you have a fantastic position of opportunity or a definitive place where you can pour gunfire down on somebody. If you don't do accuracy, back to fundamentals, what does it matter? If you don't hit what you're shooting at, I don't care how many times you can shoot or how fast you can shoot. And I took that lesson.
You might get lucky, but
you might get lucky, but your enemy might get lucky as well. In that situation, all of us in the camp, the good guys, well, in my perspective, the good guys, probably not in their perspective.
Freedom isn't free.
Yeah. But we were all lucky. But we were lucky because they lacked the proper skill set to put rounds on target.
They're shooting like this.
Right.
That's not how you do it?
Yeah.
No.
Well, sometimes. So, the most important thing I took about that is it's accuracy. It all boils down to accuracy. Can you put a round on target? Because if you can't, and that's all basics and mechanics. That has nothing to do with being cool. That has nothing to do with how much gear you have. That is basic fundamentals of shooting. Sight picture, trigger squeeze, sight alignment.
And like you said, it's all the basics, and guys don't want to accept that because, it's a very simple approach. It's all this other stuff that we add in there to jazz up training or to spice it up. There might be a time and place.
Yeah, what do you do when you actually stop behind cover or stop to engage? What does it come down to?
Yeah.
Shooting fundamentals.
Exactly.
So everything leading up to the shot, you have to be in shape. Yes, you have to be an athlete to get over things and around things. When it comes down to shooting, you're usually not doing all those activities when it comes down to the shot. So you still, from the start, you need to learn how to shoot first and then do all the other stuff after that.
And maybe that's the lesson, is that it's a building block. You can't do, and we used to teach this all the time, a complex task is nothing more than a combination of very simple tasks. So if you don't have that base, the simple task base, you can't stack those blocks on top of each other and get to that culmination point where you have that complex task. And I think people miss those basic steps, and they miss those basic blocks trying to get to, because
they want to do
not
the
as
cool
cool
stuff.
Right,
They want to immediately go into all the running and gunning stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and that's all great, but none of us started there. Whether you end up there or not is a different story. But if you'll never get there without those basics.
I can't remember what the question was, but it goes. I get it.
I
get it if you're going in instruction-wise and someone wants to take a 2-day course. Some people just want to take it. They don't care about getting better. They're taking it because that's their vacation, right? It's their So I get that. They want to have a cool experience. Sure. They want 2 days of just freaking blazing away. But guys that are actually going to courses that want to save their life, none of that shit matters. I mean, learn how to shoot first, and then start doing the cool stuff after that.
I think that, you know, it all falls back on those simple tasks, like you said. Like, you know, you have to be able to understand what the complex task is. So if you're in an engagement, like recognizing, like, okay, what is this harassment fire? Is this an ambush line kicking off? Is this something else that's trying to bait me into something else? So it's like having that patience and that clarity to like actually see what's happening and then make a decision versus like, oh, we're shooting, I get to shoot my gun finally, you know? Like, hell yeah, man. With
Shooting all 30 rounds.
Yeah, I'm shooting. Guys, I'm black on ammo.
Finally have a chance. I'm gonna lighten my load.
Yeah. But I think that something I found profound, I guess, based off the question is how everyone falls back on whatever the most common mechanic is. So it's like if it's a break contact exercise, hey, we all recognize through proper training, we're outgunned right now. We need to get to a better piece of terrain to where we can, you know, maybe assess the situation, see if we're going to just get out of here completely, call an error or whatever, or get a maneuver element going. But have everyone kind of, yeah, it's not this, you know, your first tick isn't this grand action sequence. It's really more so like a, okay, it's happening. Okay, we did our thing, now it's over. And there's, you know, you make sense of it later, but during it, you kind of fall back on whatever those skill sets are. You know,
Well,
the
you fall back on your
basics,
base.
which are not sexy.
Which is, and the huge part about that, at least for when I train people, and that's, you want it so simple that, because not many people have no shit been in a stressful situation.
True.
And when it goes down, you want everything just to go into frickin' auto mode.
Yeah.
You know, so, and that's learning the basics to a T. To when a stressful situation comes off and your mind's not thinking about anything, it just happens.
Right.
Well, the more complex you bring in, you know, like the different mag changes or the frickin' different stances or the different grips. Well, if you have to think about all that in a stressful situation,
not happening.
Then you're not thinking about
it's
the
gonna
important
it's
part,
gonna screw you,
surviving the
right?
situation.
So.
I think that it, you know, when you look at the unit as a whole that you're with, whether it's a platoon or ODA or a cell or whatever, you know, being able to fall back on those basics also makes it easier for the person in the leadership position to actually do their job, because that's who's going to be calling the shots a lot. So it's good for them to be able to rely on, hey, my shooter's not thinking about like, what kind of reload is the best? You know, like he's just getting the job done, you know? And then he's seeing things probably in a similar way that I am, and then I can, you know, coordinate whatever I need to with resources and personnel to make a decision to get us out of there. So it's, you know, it carries up the chain, you know, if you will, with regards to how you actually perform out there, instead of being distracted by like, you know, I trained to get my, you know, reloads down to a sub 1 second, but that didn't really matter in the battlefield because, you know, you need to be able to maneuver and communicate kind of.
That just means you're going to run out of ammo.
That just
quicker.
means you're gonna This 222 drill is really not working so great in the real world. It's a great marksmanship drill. I love it though.
Oh yeah, that goes into one that's not, I'm sure, not on the list. But how do you guys? Because I'm sure you were all taught it, because I was too. Doing like multiple targets, multiple shots.
Yeah.
Did you ever taught the rhythm drill?
Yeah.
Like boom, boom,
Yeah, yeah.
boom, 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 boom.
Cadence of fire. Yeah.
Have you ever done cadence of fire when someone's really shooting at you?
You've never gone into a room and there's not been 5 guys there for
And you
to
went boom,
shoot?
boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom. Well, I mean that.
So one time we made an entry,
That was
and
just
as we
like
did it, the
one
bad guy
question that I
hit a
got.
metronome.
Yeah.
So that we could have, you know, the right cadence
Yeah,
as we shot.
exactly.
Yeah, it was perfect.
I mean, I was one, like, you know, before I knew any better,
Right.
that was stuff that I was taught too. And then now that I teach, I'm like, and the experiences that I have, it's like, holy,
Yeah.
who's teaching that? I just want, so I
wanna go
mean, you
back
guys
in
aren't
memory.
teaching that, right?
You want to go back in your memory and say,
Holy crap.
if I could just
Yeah,
remember
I
the
mean,
guy that told me to do
When
that.
multiple people are shooting at you, there is no,
No.
boom, boom,
No.
boom, boom.
The rhythm is how fast can I shoot these people that are shooting at me.
Consistent, accurate rounds.
Right. Right.
And you know, I guess when you look at those are training scars. We see them. We see them in ourselves. We see them in students. You look at training scars, and they're all built on unrealistic principles that you use for training. And if you don't alter those principles, you get stuck in that set.
Trained by people that had never been there, and
That's
I mean,
exactly
and it's
correct.
not their
Drop
fault.
the mic. Drop.
It's not their fault.
Yeah, no,
they
it's
were
not.
only they were teaching stuff that they thought would work.
Well, okay, and here's the other thing. You know, how many instructors, and I include ourselves when I look at this, how many instructors have very, very definitive things that they teach that are yours and yours only? You came up with them all on your own based on no experience or no teaching from anybody else. None of us. None of us.
I invented the sit-up. What are you talking
Yeah, right.
about? Yeah. I invented the sit-up and the
I'll
push-up.
tell you,
Yeah.
any course I go to, I don't care if the guy's an absolute jackass. I'll probably still walk out of there learning something. Like, oh, I never thought of that. And I can take that into, you know, something that I do teach. I mean, shoot, I get it from students even. A student sometimes will bring something up like that I had never thought about. Yeah, damn it.
Damn, that's a good idea.
Nothing is beneath me to where like if it works and it makes sense, I'll be the first one to be like, that's badass. I'm gonna start teaching that.
Happens to me all the time. I used to tell students, I learn more standing up on the catwalk in a shoot house, watching students shoot, than I learned from being in that room shooting. I'll give you an example. We were doing a night vision drill for a SWAT
So you pay
team.
attention, you mean?
Yeah, well, I actually.
You're not on your phone on the
Well, I gotta
catwalk?
pay attention because I don't want to get shot off the catwalk in case somebody's high carrying. So we're up on the catwalk. We're doing a night vision drill. The drill is you enter a room, and I've got a bad guy. It's a simunition drill. I've got a bad guy who's going to shine a very bright flashlight at you while you're under nods, and it's to see how you react to it. He drops the flashlight and leaves the room. Now you've got to eliminate that light source to not screw with your night vision, and you got to move to the next room and figure out where the bad guy's gone to in the house. I watched team after team after team. We were doing it in little two-man teams, and I watched these guys flow through the house, and guys are trying to pick up the flashlight and figure out how to turn it off, and some guys are sticking it in their pocket, and then it's just illuminating through their pocket, but everybody's screwing with this damn flashlight.
Yeah.
A two-man team came through, and the guy reached down, picked the flashlight up, set it bezel down, and walked on.
Having that clarity of mind to
Right.
slow down and like
Right.
think for a second.
And I'm like, absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
You don't know that flashlight, you don't know where the on-off switch is, you just know you need to eliminate the light source.
Who's that? Who is that guy? Let's get him on here.
Yeah.
He didn't throw it into the next room so that he could illuminate it or the FBI technique.
Actually, he taped it to his AK, spun and shot.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, so you know, you see those simplistic things and you see those. I learned as much from students as they ever learned from me, I'm
Well,
sure.
you're an idiot if you don't.
Right. Well, and it's that constant learning process. If you're not learning, you're falling behind because we're in an ever-changing world.
Yeah.
Regardless of what discipline you look at, I don't care what your passion is. If you're not learning more about it, you're becoming archaic. So.